Well, hello guys, welcome back. One of you asked if I would go a little more into the theory of, Loki is god of initiation, at least where, the story of, him transforming into the fly and the sewing up of the mouth are concerned. Now, I'm sure other people have already done this, and maybe I'm just like half remembering something I read. But, the story feels like a fragment because we see Thor's hammer being made, but we don't see the glove that he's supposed to have to wear to throw it, which occurs in another story. So we have all these like little fragments. And if you know anything about Norse mythology, oh my god, they gotta tell you how everything was built and who built it, and what their name was, and what their lineage was, and what their ancestors did. So to just have random stuff appear, or to have it not seem too important, shows us that there's a lot missing. Now, if Loki is a god of initiation, and here it will be the initiation of the Trors, they're all making these things, and they're all, going to present them to the gods to see, did they pass? Did they make something worthy of the gods? Now, one of the things we're also missing in the story is that if you're going to do something like forging, it's considered a magical process. So there would have been magical processes involved. And we might not have them because you would keep stuff like that hidden in secret. Sewing up of the mouth can also be a metaphor for, keep your mouth shut. Don't be telling randoms that haven't joined our guild how you make this stuff and how you do magic, because you're literally handing your livelihood away, and you're handing the livelihoods of everybody in the guild that depends on the work away. And it's also a thing of, if you look at the one bellows guard of Loki, and it has the mouth, the scars in the mouth, meaning that it's like post that thing. It could be, they've mastered the element of fire needed in working the bellows and working the metal. It has to be at a certain temperature, an exact certain temperature. And the magical processes, since you're making magical items, have to happen at the exactly right time. And keep in mind, too, if you read about Thor's hammer, what's the unusual thing about it? Is the whole thing's forged out of one piece of, we're supposing, metal. So, isn't that a tad unusual? Because if it ever broke, you would have the, handle break off, and it would be completely useless. So it was all forged of one piece. And usually in our tales or stories, if something's said to be unbreakable, you can be sure somebody somewhere is going to find out a way to break it. So it's interesting that this is all forged of one piece. It's all forged of metal. It's not, like a traditional kind of hammer where they forged the head and then they made a handle for it, and therefore you could always infinitely replace the handle. So it was something that came to me. And, if Loki was going to initiate people, initiate them into these guilds, or initiate them into the magic and mastery of, the fire and the metalworking, because they would have to understand both processes. You have to understand how hot the fire has to be. You have to understand, how to shape the metal. You have to understand everything to know what you're doing. Um, it's just a theory. I'm sure most people would disagree. They would say, oh, that story was just Loki being bad and he got his comeuppance. But it never made any sense, because we're talking about a culture where had he really meant to do Loki harm, he would have figured out some terrible way to do it. It was almost like a ritual event, the closing of the mouth. And, we also see the closing of the mouth for the dead. We see the closing of the mouth or shutting down of the forge after the contest. So it could point to any number of things. I'm not going to sit here and pretend, oh, I figured this out, I know this story exactly. It's just speculation. And Loki got excited about it for whatever reason. So I'm like, well, okay, if he's excited about it, I'll think about it. But I don't, I wouldn't know from a couple fragments what it truly means. Because if it was a secret society for the Forge, and Loki was the god of that, you know, one of the things you do when you join a society is you don't go blabbing on the internet on 4chan or something and telling everybody your, you know, innermost secrets. Because what's the point of having a guild to protect the secrets in the first place if everybody's going to run around blab about them? And, you know, you're protecting not only the guild and your livelihood, but, you know, when it's a sacred trust from a god and you're being given sacred abilities, like the magical abilities you need to forge magical items, or remember, even in our world, forging was considered a magical process. You would need to keep in trust with that god and keep in faith with that god. And there will be certain things that would happen during your initiation that you would not share with people for your own good, because it's meant for you. It's not meant for everyone else. So, you know, make of that what you will, but it occurred to me because of what Loki's been doing lately. And if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.